And Tim Omlu goes over a tenth of a second fast.
Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Formula Trout Premier Series. And you are joining us just in time for the final round of the season, full stop. And you're joining us just in time for the Master Split. My name is Ross McIntyre. On the cameras today and occasionally on the comms because he's currently eating his takeaway is the league owner Kilgore Trout. He'll be coming in eventually. We might be getting joined by an old friend of Formula Trout as well, shall we say. I don't know if he's going to rock up. He might. He said he would, but you know, can't really trust anybody in the sim racing world. So we will have to see. So we've wrapped up the Challenger Series Championship. That is all done and dusted. Final race of the season going to Oliver Gibson, bringing home, that would have been what, his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, his 7th race win of the season. Wow, that's quite no, it is his 8th. It's just that the thing's been updated. I didn't all realise, and the cheat's already been updated. So his 7th race win of the season, and what has been a dominant season, and ended it on a Grand Slam as well. Now let's see what the champion here can do. Mustafa Moradi, the man from Iran, wrapped up this championship quite some time ago and has been the absolute dominant force this season, as have Young at GP. Can he end his season on a win? We'll just have to find out. And well, it's all action blazing here as we get underway for qualifying here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, I think is the official name. I need to double check on that. I do apologise, but it's of course great to be here. We had a brilliant end to the season here for season 8. We've just had our first race, which was a brilliant end to the season for the Challenger Split, and now I am absolutely certain that we are going to have a brilliant end to the season in the Master Split, and a brilliant end to Season 9 as well, as we more likely than not move on from this generation of Formula Hybrid cars and move on to the 2022 style cars they provide. Of course, here in Formula Trout, we run the RSS Formula Hybrid series of cars as the car of choice. Of course, this car being the Formula Hybrid 2021, based off of the 2021 Formula 1 regulations. Well, from Season 10, more likely than not, we'll be moving on, if everything goes to plan, to a car which is based off of the 2022 regulations. So it'll be akin to the real-life Formula 1 regulation changes. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that will be that anyway. We'll have to wait and see when it comes up. Well, it's looking like we've got a pretty action-packed grid here today for the final race. We've got Oliver Gibson in waiting for an interview channel. Hello, Ollie.
Hello.
Hello. Are you coming along to commentate? Or do you just want another interview?
I'm gonna stay for qualifying, then I'll have to go back for the race, but yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oliver Gibson, your Challenger Split champion and your race winner and Grand Slam taker from a few months ago. He's here for qualifying now. I don't usually do this, but seeing as how it is the last race of the season, let's feel a bit nice. If anybody is listening and wants to come along and join in the commentary booth, you are very much welcome to. Just give me a shout. Of course, when it starts getting ridiculous, I'll start kicking people out. But yeah, do come along and join me. Nice to have you here, Ollie.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it is indeed. I've just had some information to update you all on the Challenger Split race from Stephen Hepner. He's saying that he had at the end of the race, he had some absolutely ruined C1 tyres on, and a very much damaged wing, which is why he was seemingly off of the pace. So unfortunately for Stephen Hepner, his season not ending on a bang. Stephen had a driver who's been showing lots of improvement over this year, and I'm sure that he'll be coming back with a big bounce next year, whether it be in the Challenger Split or maybe he finds a seat in the Master Split. Who knows? You don't need to win the Challenger Split to find your way up. You know, some drivers have done it after one race. Some drivers like to stick around some drivers, you know, it really does depend. So we'll just have to wait and see what Steven and the others do. Also don't know when the next season is going to kick off, unfortunately. No, because we run two seasons in a year here in Trout. We kind of run one over the New Year period, and then one over the summer. That's just kind of how we do things. So I can't really tell you when season 10 is going to kick off, unfortunately, but I'll make sure you keep your eyes peeled. And the way that you can keep your eyes peeled, of course, is by joining the Discord. If you go on click the link in the video description, if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, it should very much be there. And well, if you go ahead and click the link, you will see that you can join in. And of course, do please come and join in. We don't bite, we will not hurt you. And well, we will hopefully see you here. Anyway, on to the action, and Giovanni and Warren for Bag Motorsports in his home race, in the team's home race, currently sitting on provisional pole with a 108.666. That being said, Jack Smith, who's stepping into the Younger GP car for Jan Dragoon, I would assume today, hasn't set a lap yet, as Mustafa Muradi goes to the pole. And then Jack Smith goes to the pole, 108.020 there, and they've set identical lap times to the 1,000th of a second.
That is amazing. That is, I mean, sorry to interject, but yeah, I just had to. I mean, see Muradi set a 18.02, and then Jack Smith seconds later is doing exactly the same. I don't know, man. These guys are on rails. Hacks.
Hacks. We know that Younger GP have been absolutely dominant this year, and well, I'll let you proceed. The driver that I was hoping was, the old friend even that I was hoping was going to be joining us for the race, it was going to be Younger GP team boss Max Younger, who happens to be the most successful driver in Formula Trout history. I don't know whether he's going to join. I have dropped him a message, but he isn't responding, so I don't know if he'll join us or not. But I was hoping to get an insight into the Younger GP winning formula. But yeah. And then when you look at David Halligan as well in the DHF1 car, he's only 100th off.
Yeah.
The top three are right on each other, and then Tommy Latala. So the grid's a bit mixed up here. Of course, as I was saying in the Challenger split race, it's a race that, you know, it's a track that evolves very, very quickly. It all changes very, very quickly indeed. And well, you just have to kind of wait and see what's going to happen, unfortunately. But it's well, very impressive, it must be said, to see that happening for those guys. And well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens as well. As the session goes on, will it improve? Will the lap times tumble even faster? Will it get even closer? Will the Younger GP boys pull away? Only time will tell. I think, I don't know how the game would treat this, as we're on board with Giovanni and Morin. Technically, if the session ended now, it should technically be Mustafa Muradi on pole position, because he set the lap time first.
Correct. Yeah.
And in the wacky world of motorsports, how it's worked. But the timing board's displaying Jack Smith on provisional pole, so I don't know if we just let it go like that, or I don't know if you could change it around, Kilgore, or what. But yeah, I'm not
believe
sure.
This has happened before. I mean, ideally these guys are only going to improve, and the chances of them setting identical lap times again, you know, very slim. But you know, stranger things have happened, obviously. As Giovanni Morin goes faster again, wow, that's what I like to see from this guy. He's a dark horse, man. He's only improving, man. He does brilliant, especially at his home race. You know, he's getting like plus 10 horsepower down the straights at least.
Indeed, he's a very strong driver. You know, obviously he didn't quite get the Challenger Split Drivers' Championship last year with his brother Bruno, but he led the team to the Constructors' title, and he's been showing solid improvement over the year. You know, the year really didn't start well for Giovanni. I'm not sure if just, you know, he underestimated the jump up to the Master Split. It is a big jump. Obviously no disrespect to the guys in the Challengers, but it's a fantastic championship. But the guys in the Master Split are just that good. As that's Muradi, another 4/10 up in the middle sector. So looking like he'll be on provisional pole as he comes around this time. But well, maybe he just didn't do enough practice for the season. I don't know. But Giovanni and Morum, he's been getting better and better across the season. Already goes 3.5 tenths faster. Smith again just behind him. He's a tenth off this time round. And yeah, well, it's good to see him back in fighting form and up the front at his home race, the DAC Brazilian Grand Prix. And on board with Steven Stevenson, a race winner this year in Trout, of course, taking the victory for Oxtan over, I believe it was the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, unless I'm mistaken. That absolutely crazy race. Obviously, Kilgore is team boss over at Oxtan, as well as the league owner and manager slash... Actually, what is your official title, Kilgore? I'm not actually quite sure. It's league founder, I guess?
Yeah, if you want to call it that, yeah. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Alright, there we go. Well, we've got an official title now for Mr. Trout. It is in league founder. Yeah, there you go. There you are. That was at least we got something done tonight, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, Steven Stevenson, a race winner this year. He went second on that last lap as I was talking about what we should call you. Anyway, on board with Dave, so another top driver. It's going to be close come the end of qualifying. I mean, Oliver, of course, you got pole in the Challenger split. You know, it's tough to get a lap round here right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably one of the most difficult tracks to actually get every single corner right. There's been a few tracks this season, I think probably Mugello was one of them, where it's just kind of flat everywhere. Whereas this, I mean, just even the corners that you think are flat, they're still quite difficult. Like, you take too much curb, the car goes around, you take too little curb, you lose all your speed down the straight. It's just incredibly difficult, but it's impressive to see these guys doing, I mean, already beating the pole time in Challenger, so with 6 minutes left, it's pretty, oh, that was close, but pretty impressive. Obviously, they're master, but you know.
I'm sure that it'll all be fine for those guys who are...
Morum's up again.
Indeed, and Morum is seemingly flying at the moment. Giovanni Morum obviously wanting to make an impression on his home race. He just had to dart past Dalla Valle, I think that was. He was sliding past. And again, just traffic seemingly everywhere. Oh, he's lost out in the middle sector, unfortunately, but gets the throttle down nice and early at the last corner. And this is Giovanni at his finest. I'm getting flashbacks to last season. He's driving on the ragged edge and he dives into the pits.
Denying us that.
Breaking my heart. Giovanni and Morum, that was on board masterclass right there. But of course, you'll see him heading back out in just a short moment's time. I think he decided to throw the lap away after that traffic in the middle sector. There was no point. Indeed, the last sector is just a straight. It is hard to gain time there. Now on board with Jack Smith in the number 15 Youngert GP car course, standing in for normal driver Jan Dragoon. Jack Smith, another incredibly fast driver. He's done some real-world racing as well, hasn't he? He's done a lot of karting in real life, so he knows his way around a racetrack. And, well, he's actually slightly down on Moradi in the middle sector as well. Stevenson and Benoit and Smith and Griffith as well, all within 0.2 of a second.
Moradi is up on the first and second sector. Yeah, it looks like he will be holding on to the
Halligan!
As Halligan goes fastest. Good on him.
Well, yeah, good on him, but that's something you don't see every day. A 107, and Moradi then goes fastest again by 3, nearly 0.4 of a second. Smith can only manage third even as Philip Olsen goes to 9th. Alex Cochran goes to 13th. Halligan, though, I mean, we've seen flashes of brilliance from Halligan this year. I think season 8 overall really wasn't a particularly strong season. Halligan, he just couldn't quite get the hang of the car, or he just didn't quite gel with him. And it was fine, but it wasn't anything spectacular, to be brutally honest. This season, obviously David he's gone on to set up his own team, DHF1. We've seen flashes of real brilliance from Halligan this season. With some work over the off season, I'm very excited to see what David can do for the future. Because there is a strong driver in there as we now go on board with Colombo Griffiths, another driver who's had a few moments here where he's looked mightily impressive across season 9. There is definitely opportunity for things to happen next season for Halligan. It all kind of depends on what happens with the rest of the grid, though. Of course, if Maradi rocks up and wipes the field again, you can only be so good. Younger GP will be looking to continue their dominance into the next season, I'm sure. But maybe Maradi doesn't feel it. It is very, very mentally taxing winning a Trout Championship. What you'll often find is drivers win a championship and then kind of have an off season or decide to take a year off. That's what Max Hammerlink's season 8's champion did this year. Did one race at the start of the season to stand in for someone else, and then has taken the rest of the season off. You think of Andreas Schilder, his follow-up for season 7, his title defense season 8 really wasn't that strong. He was fast, but nothing compared to Hammerlink in the season before. So it may well be that next season, especially with the likely chance of the new car, the new regulations coming as we're on board with Cipra and Stoyan, that maybe Maradi isn't at his best, maybe Younger GP aren't at their best. We will just have to wait and see. 2.5 minutes left of qualifying in Season 9 of the Formula Trout Premier Series. And if you're just joining us, well, it's been a very, very close qualifying so far, but Maradi has managed to put in a bit of a banker lap, it would seem, and get himself 3.5 tenths ahead of the Brazilian Giovanni Amorim here at Interlagos. And you join us just in time for the final race of the season here in the Premier Series, the final race of the Master Split. There is the man already crowned champion. He's been that dominant this season, Mustafa Maradi. If he wins this race, I believe he becomes, in terms of season statistics, the most dominant driver in Trout history. He hasn't, finished every race on the podium like Hammerlink did last year, but in terms of race wins and overall points, I think he has slightly outdone Hammerlink if he wins this race. And he is pushing like there's no tomorrow, as is the normal Maradi style. The man from Iran doing what he does best. And as he's flying around the twisty middle sector, very easy to get it wrong here. You'll have a lot of faith, a lot of trust in the car. Puts the pedal down, gets it moving once again. And he's ever so slightly up, and he's gone too sideways. He's gone too hard. Mustafa Maradi will not have a final attempt as he spins in the final corner. Just pushed too hard. His teammate Jack Smith, what can he do as he comes to line? Jack's got time for another lap if he so wishes, because that was quite some way off. But Mustafa Maradi, that will be him done, because his tyres will be cooked. Jack Smith blocks up the inside front into the first turn. Not going to help his chances. Look for the Delta. Alright, don't look for the Delta. Let's look at David Halligan instead. And Jack Smith slightly down. No worries there. Of course, Kilgore Trout on the cameras for us today. As always, Berza moves up to P9 there. Not a bad lap from Christoph Berza as Alex Cochrane has a spin coming through the center S's. Obviously gave it too much through turn 1. Wow, look at Smith all over the curve. Actually clipped the sausage curve slightly. And again, lots of aggressive lines being taken here at Interlagos. He eases onto the throttle, a little bit of wheel spin, managed to get the car straightened up. One more corner to go for Jack Smith. He is a long way down, checkered flag is out, and he overcooks it as well at the final corner. That'll be it for the Younger GP drivers. Brittatta's had enough as well. Stevenson is done. Cochrane's had an off, and he's touched with someone as well. So he's touched with Berza, the two teammates there. Smoke billowing from the tyres. Benoit down. Amorim is down as well. On Giovanni, we're actually exactly down to the last lap as well. He might get a bit of slipstream from the car ahead as Philip Olsen goes to P9. Can Amorim upset the champions evening by going to the provisional pole? No, he can't. It's close, but it's not close enough. A tenth of a second, a tenth and a half in it. And I think Maradi might be on another lap, I'm not sure. But it will be Mustafa Maradi. No, Maradi is done. Unless Benoit can improve out of nowhere. He does go to 4th, so he misplaces Smith and Stevenson. So Smith starting in 6th. That's not where he'd be wanting to start off, especially after these strong performances early on in the session. So it will be your champion, Mustafa Maradi, once again on pole position. with a absolutely dominant lap, and that is his what?
No.
9th pole position. And there we now the man himself has joined us. Hello, Maxi. Sorry, we'll jump in there in a minute. But it is Mustafa Moradi on pole. Oliver, I think you said you were going to go. You can stay if you want. Just I don't know what your plans are, but thank you for joining us anyway this far. It's been a pleasure having you in the booth.
Just a quick rundown, really. Everyone's on the C3 tyre. Other than Samuel Ward, but to be honest, I think he's serving a back of the grid penalty, so he's yet to choose a tyre compound. One last thing that's worth pointing out, very interesting. You see Steven Stevenson in 5th, Tarek Batata in 7th, and then you've got Alex Cochran and Boozer in 10th and 11th. These drivers are all really competing for the 2nd spot on the team's championship. I mean, statistically, there's a chance for both Griffin Gaming and DAC Racing to steal 2nd from the likes of Oxtan Racing, so it's all to play for. I mean, I'll look into the statistics as the race goes on. I've mapped everything out, all the possibilities. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, it's going to depend a lot on both drivers of each team's doing well. Obviously, Steve Stevenson qualified quite well, P5. So he's in front of all of the DAC and the Griffin cars as well. So it's looking good for Oxtan after qualifying, but the race is long, so we'll see how it goes.
Indeed, we will, of course. You are now hearing the voice of the Younger GP boss and the most successful driver in Formula Trout history, Maxi Younger. Maxi, pleasure to have you along in the booth with us. Once again, it's your driver, Mustafa Moradi, on pole. Any predictions for him in this race?
I'm not going to make any predictions. I'm just happy to see him back. He's been out with COVID in the last race, so happy to see him recover and healthy and racing again. And yeah.
Indeed, great to see him back. Let's get the final race of the season underway, shall we? Lights out, we're underway. Great start from Moradi on the outside and Morum. Good, but not the best on the inside and behind Halligan. Ooh. A bit lacking. Big lodges behind as well into turn 1, but looks like we're all clean to fire. Moradi's round. Moradi round. We've got a bit of a pile up drivers this way and that way. One of the TC drivers round. We've got drivers climbing all over each other, but it's your pole sitter, Mustafa Moradi, falling down the order. That's one of the Volpino drivers already out of the race. And it's Giovanni Amorim now leading his home race. Moradi getting super unlucky at the start. Couldn't have hoped for it to have gone any worse. Giovanni Amorim couldn't have hoped for it to go any better. The Back Motorsports driver at his home event into the lead. You can see some dive bombs happening here. Smoke billowing from tyres as drivers lock up their front wheels. Cold brakes, cold tyres. Very easy to do. David Halligan nearly lost out on 3rd place at the start. Now up to 2nd as a result of Moradi tumbling down, and Moradi already climbing the order in response. Jack Smith up to 5th in the meantime. Steven Stevenson, I think, has gone round. He's down to 13th. Did I see some smoke in the background there as well? Maybe I did. It's hard to tell. There's so much going on this first lap of the DAC Brazilian Grand Prix. But we are finishing now, and Amorim leads the way by nearly 2 seconds. He's already broken the DRS range for David Halligan behind a big lock-up on the outside front there for Jack Smith. And that, the perfect start for the Brazilian driver at his home race. Giovanni Amorim 2 seconds from David Halligan. Moradi back into the points playing positions already after dropping down to, what was it, 14th, 15th. But wow, that's not the start that Giovanni Amorim, that is the start that Giovanni Amorim would have wanted. That's not the start that Mustafa Moradi would have wanted.
So currently, as it stands, Batata is in a really good position, obviously for DAC Racing. This is playing out perfectly for them. Batata is a known race winner, so he just has to put his head down now and concentrate, as he's had a lot of bad luck this season. And yeah, I mean, Southwood in 9th. This could be playing out perfectly for DAC, which is killing me right now, as we've got Stevenson and Tommy Ilatalo both out of the points currently.
Yeah, I mean, Batata, I think he's had an amazing start. I think he was. I don't remember exactly what position he qualified in, but it was outside of the top 5.
Yeah, indeed. Batata was, I think he was sick. That I want to say, but don't hold me accountable for that if I'm wrong. But yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Jack Smith just made his way up to P4. He's just gained another position. So
Yeah,
he's
Philip Olsen. Yeah, got past Philip Olsen, who had a massive start. He went from like P9 to P4 at that chaotic start. So a great start for the Volpino driver there, but he's dropped into fifth. Alex Cochrane as well was well down the grid in qualifying for Griffin Gaming. He's jumped all the way up to P6 now and is trying to break into the top 5. So we've had some big winners and some big losers out there on this first lap. Giovanni Amora, meanwhile, maintaining that 1.8 second gap. And Halligan's now pulled out of DRS range of Batata, who's pulled out, pulled out of DRS range of Smith, who's pulled out of DRS range of Olsen as well. Here we are on board. Halligan, fastest lap of the race. Cochrane moves to the outside, draws alongside into the braking zone, is later on the brakes, locks up the inside. Can he get it turned in enough? Yes, he can. Just manages to hold on. Olsen's still there on the outside. That's going to cause a bit of a cluster train behind them, but it will be Alex Cochrane moving to B5. Is that Griffith? I think it is. Oh, 3 wide. Coming down the straight. Olsen trying to the outside. Almost an accident. You can see cars absolutely everywhere on the circuit. But Alex Cochrane manages to hold on to P5 and somehow behind. There isn't an accident, and that is Christoph Berzer off the road. Alex Cochrane, one Griffin driver facing good fortunes. Another is not, as that Samad Benoit, I think, has had a spin as well. Going backwards on board with Felipe Olsen. Wow, what a chaotic start we're having here. I mean, obviously Maxi. Oh, that's Dave Southard facing the wrong way, and that is not good.
He's lost positions again.
Has Southern and Moradi come together? Maybe. I would assume they have.
What? Because Salvo was in P9 and Moradi P10, so I would guess that's what happened.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame for Mustafa Moradi, who did everything right in qualifying and is just having it handed to him in this race. But it means Giovanni Amora might be getting a fairy tale first Premier Series victory here in Brazil, his home race. And what a victory that would be. How much that would mean to him, I can only imagine. A driver who I've been following very closely since I started commentating over Formula Trout. Oh, big wobble there for Jack Smith as he hit the brakes on the curb. But of course, it's important to note we are still only 5 laps into this race out of 47. Anything could happen here, as it usually does in Formula Trout, as it usually does in the Master Split. Oh no, what I was going to say before it all kicked off again. Maxi, of course, you haven't been racing much recently, but obviously you're no stranger to getting out on track in Formula Trout. But when you get in these situations where you've got 4 or 5 cars tripping over each other, there's possibility for an accident. What is it that you do in those scenarios? As we see here, Jack Smith to the inside of Tarek Batata, getting past Tarek Batata. That's as easy as you like. But yeah, Maxi, what do you do in those situations?
Well, if you find yourself dropping down quite a lot of positions, you need to just stay as calm as possible, really. And there is...
That's Batata well off the road.
King on the grass there, that's not going to do you well for your corner entry there. But yeah, usually you just have to stay calm. There's nothing you can do. It's usually, obviously, if you get taken out in a massive crash, the best you can do is just try and stay consistent and put in your laps and see where you end up. Obviously, I don't know what happened there with Mustafa himself and with Dave or some of the other guys that dropped down, but usually when it's a multiple pile, like a pile up, there's often not a specific driver you can pinpoint the fault to, the blame to. So yeah, there's not much you can do other than just putting in your laps and trying to do your race. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame we missed the what happened with Moradi. Unfortunately, obviously, you assume as it kind of went, Moradi almost looked like he just got away with it, but it looked like in the S's, I don't know, he just got a bit loose. by the time we
It must
arrived
have
back there.
been- It could have been something with Amorim since Giovanni was up the inside there.
Yeah, you're right.
Um,
You're right.
But we don't know. I guess we will see after the race. Will be in the interview. Someone will explain what happened.
Oh.
And there's Tommy off. That is not good for Oxtan's constructors.
Well, given an update on the current championship standings as another championship battle.
Alfred as well.
Yeah, he's out. As it currently stands, Batata needs to be in P3. Yeah, he needs
Jack's made it past him just now, hasn't he?
Yeah, a couple of laps ago, Jack managed to get past him. But yeah, as it stands, Oxtown will retain P2 in the championship, and yeah, DAC will be finishing third at this rate.
Jack just set the fastest lap of the race, so he's doing very well right now, catching up to P2 at the moment. He's about to reach DRS and Mustafa just beats Jack's lap there, so that was quick. But, about to make a move on Cyprian Stoyan here. Very difficult to overtake Cyprian from personal experience. He's a very, very strong defender.
As you say that, there's being a strong defender, and then there's not making the corner, and another incident for Mustafa Moradi. It just doesn't seem to be going his way today, and I mean, what a shame as well. Cyprian Stoyan does let him through. He does have the courtesy to let Moradi back past, but you know, Moradi, he's not put a foot wrong all season, and then, you know, he's won the championship. JGP, they've won the constructors. You know, it's time to go out and win the last race and end on a high. And Mustafa Moradi, he's having it all handed to him today.
It's a shame to have a race like this on your last race in your championship winning season, especially when you've been this dominant. But he still has a chance for a good result. He's only 10 seconds off the P10. He can still score points. You know, I have faith that he'll try his best to make it back into that top 10. But I think Jack Smith is one to watch out for, because he is really closing up on that P2, and P2 is not that far away from P1. So I'm hoping, as a team boss, that they will do well for JGP tonight.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, Maxi, won't we? Of course, there's still a long way to go in this race. Only lap 9 of 47 here, the finale of Season 9 of the Formula Trout Premier Series. And, of course, a very warm welcome to everybody watching along at home. And, well, I thank you for joining us so far in this race. So thank you for joining us so far this season. And it has been a season. It's been a long old season, hasn't it? But we're finally wrapping it up here. And, of course, if you haven't already, if you could hit like and subscribe, if you're watching on YouTube, if you could hit follow, if you are watching along on Twitch, it really does help out everybody here at the Formula Trout League. A lot of effort goes into organising these championships, these races, broadcasting them for your entertainment, and we really, we cannot appreciate, you know, your appreciation, I suppose, enough. So thank you very much. And of course, if this is your first time watching Formula Trout, then hello and welcome. And if you fancy getting involved, then please do not be afraid to go and click on the link in the description to come and join the Discord. If you we don't bite, we're all a really nice bunch of lovely people, and you know, you can come along and just hang out. You can look to get involved in some trout racing in the future. This is not the only series that we offer here at Formula Trout. There's fun races on. There's the Sprint series. There's the new Hyperion series that we're doing as well. There's lots of racing for you to come and enjoy here at Formula Trout. And of course, thank you very much for watching once again. That was Coloma Griffiths getting very, very close to the back of Felipe Olsen there as they came around the tight right hairpin off camera.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those rare sightings that we see from Coloma Griffiths, where, you know, just shows that he does have the potential on a good day. Just a bit too far back this time. Oh, as I spit!
Oh, contact! Round goes Olsen, round goes Griffiths, and once again, oh no, Olsen stopping, and Benoit having to take a shortcut there. And I think that's Moradi back into the top 10 there. But well, that's well, I think we've seen well, For the series that's supposed full of the best drivers in Assetto Corsa, we've seen some interesting driving standards on display here today. I suppose it's the final race of the season.
Not been the best night to showcase driving standards.
There's normally less people missing their braking zones. You can trust me on that one. On board with Jack Smith, he's getting very close to the back of David Halligan. He'll have the DRS. Is he going to be close enough to have a look? Halligan all the way to the inside. Jack Smith to the outside. Who's later on the brakes? Halligan misses the corner. Smith still there on the outside. There's banging wheels. Smith goes round.
Go on, Halligan. I'm sorry but that was brilliant. He did exactly what he had to do there. That was beautiful.
Before we the fight starts in the commentary, because I do just want to make everyone watching aware who aren't aware that of course Maxi is the team boss over at Junior GP, so Jack is Maxi's driver today, and David used to be Kilgore's driver. He was over at Oxtan last season. Kilgore, of course, being the team boss over there as well as league owner, so that's why we've got a bit of division here in the commentary box. I'm going to stay neutral in this one. It's not my place to comment on what's happened, but banging wheels, round goes Jack Smith. Not so much misfortune as his teammate. He's only dropped down to 4th, but he's got to get past Tarek Batata again. Halligan holds on to P2. I think there's going to be a lot of post-race complaints after this one.
I think that was not gonna lie.
I think,
as Martin Brunner would say, it's 6 one, half a dozen the other. But you know, I think
one doesn't show.
I don't know if the angle kind of shows the full picture, but.
If you're not in the Discord and you want to find out what's happening to the amount of people getting penalties post-race, come join, because I can guarantee you there'll be a few being handed out here. The championship steward Carlos Camanis, he's in for a long night, I tell you that much. Yeah, there's going to be a fair few complaints coming in post-race about this one. Oh my goodness me. Anyway, back to the action. Gustavo Dalle Valle comes into the pits. I think that's the first of the green flag pit stops that we've seen, which is about 30 laps in. That is quite early, so I wonder if he's had a spin somewhere, or if he's just on a very aggressive strategy. We'll have to wait and see. We were kind of seeing people coming into the pits from around lap 15 to lap 20 in the Challenger split. And you could make it to the end if you boxed lap 20 on the C3s. No, the C2s, sorry. The C1s, for those who came in on lap 15 and went on to the C1s, it was actually quite touch and go, which is a bit strange. Burrs are in as well. So a few drivers coming in to make their pit stops. Of course, a pit stop is mandatory here in the Formula Track League. You do have to stop at least once and go onto a different compound of tyres as per the sporting regulations. On board now with your race leader, no longer on board with your race leader. Instead, we're following Steven Stevenson, who's trying to fight his way back up on the C1s, the hardest compound of tyre, which actually I've just noticed as he's in this battle with Cyprian Stoyan, Kilgore's two teams going toe-to-toe, and looks like Stevenson is going to hold on to the position for the time being. I've just noticed, Kilgore, is the blue on the Oxtan livery the same shade of blue as the tyres by any chance?
It looks like it, doesn't it? That might be a design choice.
It might be a design choice, it might just be complete potluck, who knows. But it does look very similar, doesn't it? Samuel Ward, meanwhile, for Volpino, maintaining. Actually, Benoit coming out. Yep. Manages to jump Benoit just coming out of the pit, so Ward takes P12 there. Benoit will have to do a little bit more work. Volpino, it's been an okay year for Volpino, not their best year, not their worst year. I mean, of course, they did have Mustafa Moradi last year taking wins in the penultimate round of the season. So you do have to, acknowledge the fact that they did lose the guy who proceeded to wipe the floor with everybody this year. But they've had a pretty solid season. I think Volpino, it's been okay. They're a team that will deliver. They're not consistent front runners, but they are always there or thereabouts. They always provide some pretty decent results. Samuel Ward, it's been an okay season for him. Simon Benoit, another driver who pretty consistent, always there or thereabouts, and again doing a pretty good job out there tonight. Is a little bit wide ahead from Samuel Ward, and that now the Swiss driver might be able to attack with the DRS wide open in the slipstream. He's going to pull to the inside. Look at the speed difference that he has down the back straight on the anchors. He gets through. It's not done yet because Benoit still hanging on in the background. Of course, dirty air isn't really a factor in Assetto Corsa. The simulator just doesn't mimic dirty air that well, unfortunately, so you can follow cars in front very well as Benoit locks his outside front. And now Olsen, if he can stick with him, Ward even, apologies, if he can stick with him, will have a chance. And Benoit locking up tyres like there's no tomorrow. His brakes aren't that, surely. Anyway, back to the front. Jack Smith now back on Tarek Batata again. He's pulling to the inside of Tarek Batata again. And it's a copy and paste of the move that he made earlier on the American Jack Smith. Back up to P3. Alex Cochrane, meanwhile, into the pits, which promotes Mustafa Moradi back up to 6th place. And it's, well, as we're entering now this middle phase of the race, now the question that's on my mind is tyres. You know, when do people come in? How far do they take their tyres? And as well, what's Moradi going to do? I mean, Max, you'll know better than anybody that Mustafa is an unbelievable talent. I mean, obviously he's dominated the championship this year. You know, you have to look at the results to see how good he is. But, you know, he is so fast. You know, do you think he's going to be able to get up there, you know, get into a podium position?
At the moment, I'm not sure, because if you look at Agnes's gap, you know, to 4th place, the battle for P3, it is quite a bit. I think he can definitely get up to P5, but further than that, I think some incidents might need to happen for these guys ahead for him to be able to realistically get up the points. But we don't know. It depends on his pace as well. But on that, you know, you were saying earlier about the dirty air not being that strong in Assetto Corsa. It is actually quite heavy in these cars, at least in the RSS Hybrid.
It's weird because it's weird because it's like in comparison to real life. In real life, the dirty air is, you know, you can be like 10 seconds away from the driver in front of us and you're still feeling the impacts. In Assetto Corsa, you know, you can get within a couple car lengths and be fine, and then it just almost hits you like a freight train, doesn't it? So it's
once you're within a 2-second gap, it starts becoming a pretty major factor, though. Like, especially when you're trying to overtake, when you're this close, like these guys are right now. It does become fairly heavy. It does impact your ability to follow, but yeah, it is not like real life. It's much less strong. That is true.
Indeed, it is. Well, that's
Jack
just
Smith coming in as well, and I think Amorim from the lead as well has pitted. So we'll see where they come out, if they come out in traffic or not.
Giovanni Amorim looks like he's going to come out in 3rd place. Halligan inherits the lead. Batata inherits 2nd. Rositis. It's going to be close between Rositis and Amorim. I think Rositis might just get the jump, but Amorim will want to clear Rositis as close as possible because Rositis is yet to box off of those old tyres, and every corner that Amorim is stuck behind the TC driver, he's wasting time, precious time that he doesn't have time to waste. And look how close he's on that fresh rubber. He's got all the grip in the world. Rositis, he needs to clear him. He's in the twisty technical middle sector, thinking about a look to the inside. We saw a big move there in the Challenger split race earlier. He decides against it, but he'll have the DRS, so it should be okay because he will have the DRS down the main straight. So he's very close. Yeah, Halligan now in. Yeah, so Halligan's now in. Pulls into his pit box. If Rositis doesn't come in, Rositis will inherit the lead. As I say that, Amorim is already through. So Amorim's going to inherit the lead of this race once again. Rositis does not come in. So Rositis inherits 2nd, but he's yet to box. Moradi also yet to box. He'll be promoted to 3rd place, I would reckon. It's going to be tight, but he should get 3rd. He should carry the momentum through the corner against Halligan. So Jack Smith will be in 4th place. Halligan and Moradi should... No, Moradi stays behind.
Yeah.
So Halligan crucially gets out in front of Moradi. Moradi is yet to box.
Though. Yeah.
No, he hasn't. So it's but it's important that Halligan doesn't waste time behind cars in front and lose time behind cars in front as well. So it's good for Halligan to be getting out in front of Moradi. So it will be, when Rositis boxes, it will be Amorim from Halligan from Smith, essentially. as your front three, because it depends how far Moradi can take these tyres. We'll have
Moradi will
to
choose
wait
to
and see.
very soon. I'm guessing even this lap.
Yeah, well, I would assume so.
Probably waiting for the other cars to pit so that he doesn't get stuck in traffic. But yeah, look, he's coming in right now for his pit stop. One scheduled pit stop.
Ooh. Oh! Whoa, whoa, whoa! You got very lucky that the pit lane ghost factor decided to step in there as Batata gets past. It was that Stevenson he's got past. Yep. Batata gets past. Moradi, Rositis both into the pit. So it's a moron from Halligan, from Smith, your front three. Batata back up into P4. And yeah, it's lucky that in Assetto Corsa, well, we see there Stevenson not quite done, trying to hold it around the outside. This would be phenomenal if he pulls off. No, he dumps it on the sausage curb.
I think it was a bit too brave. A little bit too brave there.
It was a supremely bold move, and if he'd have pulled it off, it would have been spectacular. But he loses it on the sausage curb. And that was the worry. You know, they've been implemented this race to stop people from abusing track limits. And yes, it's done its job, but you know, you take out a bite a bit more than you can chew, and it will just spit you out like there's no tomorrow. What a shame there for Stevenson, but he's only down in P6, so it's not the end of the world. Gustavo Dalle Valle, meanwhile, in the other bad car, gone on to the C1s. David Halligan, a 109.091 fastest lap of the race. So Halligan setting some good competitive lap times right now. It is a 3.5 second gap, but Morum doesn't have to worry just yet. He can sit there and conserve his tyres if he wants to. He is on older rubber than Halligan, so you know it will be a bigger factor come the end of the race about tyre wear. So Morum, you know, it may look like the gap's closing. Got to take into account that Halligan's on fresh rubber, and Morum may be saving his rubber for the end of the race as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Samuel Ward, meanwhile, for the Volpino team, glancing backwards. Yeah, you can see Dalle Valle pushing, but not getting close enough as they head around the top of the hill. Very easy to lose it over here if you get the angle slightly wrong. A super fast corner. Well, this real life, you need some very, very strong neck muscles to get through there. You'd be pulling 3G at least, maybe 4 with that super fast right-hander. And, well, Dalle Valle just followed. This is a great camera angle, isn't it? You can look at the suspension travel of the rear of the car. You can look at the car following behind. And, well, Halligan, another fastest lap of 109.013. He is flying at the moment. And the gap now down to 3.2 seconds as well.
He is actually building a gap to Jack, and that's exactly what he needs to do right now. Obviously, Jack's probably had a bit of a wobble, so you know his confidence maybe a bit shaken around Halligan, or maybe he's just reserved his tyres and playing the
right in our fastest lap of 108.978, as we're just talking about that.
That's very quick.
That is a very quick lap, yeah.
Not to beat my driver, but yeah, I think it's going to be interesting between that top three, but especially Morum and Halligan, because David does seem to be on very good pace right now, and Morum, it's his first time leading a master split race, which is quite amazing. And last season around this time in Brazil, he was leading Challenger. But yeah, good to see him in the lead right now. But
more
only a good lap. In the last lap, he's increased the gap just a little bit, I think.
Morum went fastest for a split second, but then Jack Smith steals it back. So Jack Smith understands the assignment. You know, he
gets it.
Yeah, he gets it. If
he is he is a Sprint Series champion in quite one of the most competitive seasons of the Formula 3, the Lara F317 series. So he knows the assignment. Ooh, that is a big save.
Huge one from Dalle Valle. Awesome reactions. Wow, that's yeah, that would have been interesting. Dalle Valle also at his home race. Bag Motorsports Brazilian team, driven by 2 Brazilian drivers, and of course Bruno Amorim, who was part of their squad, Giovanni's brother. He's now part of the team management. Again, Brazilian. It's a very Brazilian team. At their home
Multi-P1.
race, they're performing well at the moment. Moradi, meanwhile, trying to get past Rositis. As you were saying, though, you know, Jack Smith is, yeah, he's not a bad driver, is he? And yeah, Maxi, you're probably right. Moradi will have the DRS down the front stretch. You have Jack Smith in the sprint series where we ran in the F3 cars. Just an amazing driver. You know, simply phenomenal, and you know he is superbly quick out on track, and it's in fact it's almost criminal, and he doesn't have more wins to his name, to be honest. I mean, Maxi, you've probably taken away a good number from him, to be honest. You know, you've got 21 to a name and 4 championships as well, but yeah, you know, Jack Smith, in comparison to, you know, the sheer pace that he has, you know, he's you know, doesn't actually have that many wins to his name. And I think you said to me when you had the I can't remember, it was the VRC, oh, I can't remember, the Formula E championship that we did.
Yeah, the lithium.
Yeah, the lithium. That's what I'm thinking. You said to me that you think that Jack's the toughest driver that you've raced against in Assetto Corsa. I mean, that, you know, that's, you know, obviously he's quite quick.
And no, I think that's a miss. I mean, I don't want to put down Jack, but I think I was referring to Oscar there more specifically.
Was it Oscar? Oh, it might have been Oscar. Oh, it was one of them. I don't know. But Jack's quick anyway.
Came in. He didn't race in the lithium until the last race.
Oh, mate, too many of like fast people in this championship. Yeah, it was Oscar Williams, the Welsh wizard. You are right. I do apologise, but I mean, Jack's a very quick driver anyway.
He did come in on the last race though, and he was as quick as me and Oscar. I remember in qualifying, the positions were 1, 2, 3 with Jack in second. So he whenever he races, he's quick. He's just not been as active in Formula Craft League as some of the other drivers. Okay. Last time he raced for us, he did. Last time he raced in Premier was last season, I think, and he did get a win. So yeah.
Well, there you are.
That's exactly it, though. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, Jack's one of those guys who can quickly get up to pace. I don't think we've seen the true extent of what Jack can offer. It's all about how active you can be in this game. And as me and Maxi have always joked about, you know, in motorsport, money is everything, you know, cash is king. It applies in this in a way. Time is money. You know, if you can put in the time, then you're a rich man. Just like a Halligan, he puts in the effort and he's up into P2. You know, it goes to show that, you know, if you practice, you know, things do come to fruition. I'm not saying that Jack doesn't practice or, you know.
He's also been consistently improving, David. You know, he's been getting better and better every race, every season. So it really shows, you know, that practice does, you know, does make master, and it does influence, especially in racing, a lot. You know, when we have guys like David. Ooh, who is that going off there? There's Gustavo de la Valle.
Yeah, he's been getting a bit loose on those tires.
But yeah, I was saying, you know, especially when you have guys like David putting in hundreds of laps for every race, you can't be sat there and just practicing for half an hour and expect good results. You know, at least not consistently.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, you should be, you know, using Halligan as a benchmark in that sense.
Moradi making up another position there on Columba Griffiths.
Ooh.
That is another near miss.
That was the one. Columba, my boy.
Columba's he's another one of your old drivers, isn't he, Kilgore? Or is he retired from the race as well?
No. He's just one I've always kept an eye on, and it's just he shows these kind of like glimpses of hope, and then unfortunately it just all goes against him. It's kind of like Jordy Lewis in a way. No offense, Jordy.
Yeah, no offense, Jordy, but
but Jordy has a special place in our hearts.
Yeah.
Okay. We can't talk bad about him. He spins into our hearts in a very special way.
I feel like that should be on a Valentine's card.
Yeah, not a bad shout to be.
I think Mustafa's about to make another move here, possibly.
Yeah, would look it, wouldn't it?
On his comeback drive right now.
Oh, there
and,
goes
pulling in
Warden to the
pits.
box anyway.
Can I just point out, Halligan's gaining on Giovanni now, and still is retaining that gap to Jack Smith.
Yeah, he's really on good form this race.
This might be the
I
one.
do hope to see a battle. Yeah, I do hope to see a battle. You know, and I would like to see David win as well. He's been trying to get into this position for so long, Chat League, practicing, putting in the time. So it would be very satisfying to see him get his first win.
Yeah,
but also for Giovanni, who do you want? Pick your poison, because they're both great guys, and yeah, it would be great to see both of them.
I feel like as the main commentator, even though I've not been here this year, sorry, that I'm supposed to remain neutral over stuff like this, but it is really who do you want to win? Because again, as you said, they're both lovely guys. David he's been around for quite some time now, and he's kind of a bit of a proven driver. He's always been there or thereabouts, but this season, he's been strong. He was in contention in Australia. It's been a really good season for David. Now, I'd love to see him, cap off with his first win as Moradi up to P6. But at the same time, if you watch the Challenger split last season, you'll have seen the bromance that developed between me and the Amoran brothers almost. I almost feel obliged to want him to win as a result of that. And as well, when you consider what a fairy tale victory this would be for Giovanni at his home race, the first win for him in the Master Split, the first win for the team in the Master Split. A year on from when they won that Constructors' Championship. And got the promotion, not a year on, a season on even. I think that would just be wonderful. There's still 18 odd laps to go in this race, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens, because they're now both setting pretty similar lap times. So Amorum is starting to respond to the pressure from Halligan, but it is a case of who do you want to win, and then who's got the pace, who's got the tyres, and who's got the luck on their side. Because all it takes is, we've been seeing people bash and smash their way past each other all race long so far. All it takes is for a backmarker to make a silly decision. One of them's out of contention.
Definitely, or just a mistake. When you're pushing hard, it can just be mistakes. On your own, little spin, little wobble. We saw Jack do it. We saw other drivers just getting trouble by themselves, going on the grass when braking, going off.
So
it's easy to done.
It's worth noting that apparently, according to the data in front of me, Giovanni's tyres are a lap younger than David's, so that might play a part. But as it looks,
are you sure about that? Because I'm fairly certain Giovanni came in before
first,
David.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm looking at the wrong thing. My bad.
By the way, our stream can go on Discord is not. Yeah, it's visible again. Yeah.
Sorry about that. A few technical difficulties here in the broadcast booth, but I'm like 90% certain Giovanni came in first.
See, I thought that. I did think that, and I'm not trying to BS you, dig myself out of a hole, but something in the back of my mind was saying
2 seconds now.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
It's gone down. It's going down, but 17 laps is a long time in a race like this, especially when you're approaching the end of these stints, the second longer stint. Tires will degrade and
that was Halligan! Oh my god! Morum went off!
That is a Morum.
That was a Morum.
Halligan leads.
I have no words. I am.
He thinks they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, commentators. Yeah, talk about commentators' curse.
Oh no!
Straight into the pits. Sensible decision, if you ask me. Get any repairs that you need done.
No.
Get some fresh rubber and push hard. David Halligan inherits the lead of the DAC Brazilian Grand Prix, the final race of the season. Giovanni Amorim has possibly just thrown away a fairy tale victory. I am genuinely speechless. Unbelievable. It's a C3 tyres for Amorim there, so he's going to be able to push hard. Drops down to P6.
We don't want to show favoritism, but that does feel
I mean,
for,
even if
you know, you
you
can't have
don't have to be. You don't have to be a fan of Amorim. You know, I'm not a fan of Amorim. I'm not a fan of everyone. I just, like the guy on a personal level. You don't have to be a fan of Amorim to feel that.
and look at Jack as well. He's lost 5 seconds. To
Big wobble from Samuel Ward. Yeah, Jack's lost 5 seconds as well in P2.
No, it is looking very good for David Halgan this race.
It is. What a great overtake we've just seen from Samuel Ward, but Tommy Elitalo trying to fight back on the harder combat times, and he goes into Samuel Ward, and they both go round. And once again, we've seen it happen. This race has just been people hitting the brakes way too late, time and time again. Oh my word. On board with the man now in the race lead. And as I was saying, you've got to feel for Giovanni at his home race, a season on. To the race, to the 12th race, the same venue where, him and his brother won the Challengers Constructors Championship and got themselves promotion to the Masters event. I think Giovanni might have won that race as well. I want to say he did. What a fairy tale victory that would have been. He's on the back of Alex Cochrane now. He's got fresh rubber on. But it's such a big gap.
Good result, but
don't get me wrong, he can still get a good result. I'm certain he can definitely work his way to a podium if Moradi's tyres fall off or someone makes a mistake. But that has got to hurt. And now all he can do really is just push the emotions down, keep his head in the game, try and fight for a good position. But that is gotta hurt. Really gotta hurt.
I might have a chance here.
He will have a chance on Alex Cochrane for the
well within slipstream distance.
Well, now he's got this fresh rubber on. Yeah, he'll have the fastest lap, I'm sure. Now he's got this fresh rubber on as well. And there you go. 108.747. And they say you can't stop the cock, but Giovanni Amorim just did with absolute ease. You've got to feel for Giovanni Amorim. That is just motorsport and sim racing. It is cruel. It can break your heart in so many ways, and that is just how it works. It brings you the most ridiculous highs, and it brings you the most soul destroying lows, and it seems to be one of those days for Giovanni Amorim. And now all he can do really is get his head down and get in the game.
The silver lining here is that he's actually on for a season best currently in P5. So, I mean, yeah, it's gut wrenching seeing him drop like that. But same, if you look at shoe on the other foot, he's actually improving every race. So this is only showing glimpses of things to come next season.
Yes, I mean, it's a bit of a silver lining, I guess.
It's the best I can call it.
It's a slap now. Look at that. Giovanni Amorim 1:08.5. That is rapidly closing on Moradi as well. But there might be something happening there, as Moradi is also catching third. So we'll see how this plays out.
I mean, he is on the freshest rubber on the track. You do have to take that into account, and obviously, he was also the leader. Honestly, yeah. So he's got some pace on the wagon, but yeah.
Damo Della Valle and Stevenson, they're battling for P9. I think it is. I think they touched there for a second.
It did look like that, didn't it?
I'm not quite sure. I would say pull a replay out, but we don't have that function, unfortunately, in Assetto Corsa.
Felipe is very close to Agnes right now.
Do you want me to try? I can try and pull a replay up. It might break the stream.
It's fine. Yeah, Olsen catching Rositius as a radar knots, so he might be on for a move there for P7.
Yeah, very close. DRS open. Up the inside. On the brakes. Bob Drunkle. That was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. P7, there you go. That was quite easy for Felipe Olsen.
Very well done. Agnes might come back though with the DRS, possibly.
Maybe.
I think he's too far away at this point.
Yeah, seems a bit far back. And there will be too far back to get a poke into turn 4. So as it stands then, about 10 laps left of the 9th season. There will be 10 laps left when Halligan comes to the line now. And there you go, lap 37 of 47. Well, of the final race of the season 9 of the Formula Trout Premier Series. And it's David Halligan inheriting the lead after Giovanni Amorim makes a mistake at his home race. And, well, if Halligan can hold on, can withstand any late pressure from Jack Smith and not put a win wrong, he will be the one, not Giovanni Amorim, who takes his maiden victory in the Master Split of the Premier Series and can officially put himself among the best of the best in Assetto Corsa single-seater racing.
We say...
I think about any major mistakes from David, he's pretty much got this in the bag. You know, it's 10 laps to go. Jack would have to catch almost a second a lap on the average to be able to even get behind them, let alone overtake. So I think he's fairly safe there in the lead.
Yeah, he's got the perfect strategy so far. He's actually, according to my data, it let me down once, but he is on the youngest tyres. Jack doing a lap more than him. So yeah, this could literally play into his hands. And we say he inherited his the first place. He coaxed Giovanni into that mistake. You could argue.
He did put pressure. He did put pressure.
There was flames under that guy. You know, the heat is on in Brazil.
I mean, yeah, it's pressure isn't always filling the guy in front's mirrors. It can be just putting in strong lap times. There we see Stevenson to the outside of Agnes Rositis. Oh, we're gonna have traffic in front, and they're gonna both get held up. But Stevenson's gonna take the advantage. And Tommy Ilatalo out of the race.
So how is the constructors looking then, Kilgo, for P2?
So again, Batata's doing everything like he possibly can, but without his teammate there to support him, he's a lone gunner, and unfortunately, it's not enough. Stevenson, in fact, just scoring points alone cancels all of Batata's efforts out. So at this rate, Oxtan looking
to make a move for the podium. That would be a nice comeback.
I mean, Batata ideally needs to win this race, which it could happen. It literally could happen. So
crazy things can happen.
Yeah, let's not rule anything out.
We've seen some crazy things. Yeah, we can't commentate over that. Yeah, we just missed out on the move there.
Yeah, of course, we'll confirm the final championship positions post-race, of course, as Batata does have a look to the inside of Maradi. But yeah, of course, if you're not in the Discord yet and you do want to find out the final championship positions when they're all confirmed post-race, you can join using the link on the in the live stream description. Come along, join along. We don't bite. I'm sure in a few hours or a few days' time we'll be having the official confirmed final results of the championship and the race after penalties have been dished out, for which I suspect there will be a few in this race, given the driving standards.
And Amorum's about to... Sorry to...
Yeah, Amorum's on the back of Batata. It's no worries. Amorum is on the back of Batata, as you said. And we'll have the DRS when Batata has fallen outside of DRS range of Mustafa Maradi. And Amorum now is within... he's getting close to that podium, isn't he? He can see Maradi in front.
Chase is on now. He becomes a hunter from being the hunted early in the race. So the chase is on for that P3.
Both these drivers, having been taken out of the lead in extraordinary circumstances, one at turn one a few laps ago. They've both put on impressive comeback drives. But who now is going to get P3? Of course, Amorum has the rubber, and obviously has the race. Surely, in terms of this race, you'd be the one, going, he deserves the P3. He was leading his home Grand Prix on track for his first Master Split victory. But Maradi, of course, he'll want to end his championship-winning season on the podium. Rositis off the road, bouncing over the sausage curb. That could have been very Larry indeed. Lucky he kept it pointing in a straight line. Doesn't lose that much time either to Felipe Olsen in front. Lap 41 of 47 here in the DAC Racing. I was about to say Belgian Grand Prix, then Brazilian Grand Prix. And, well, it's been a long old season. It's been a hard-fought season. And now, as we come into the last few laps of Season 9 of the Formula Trout Premier Series Championship, and the last few laps of this era of Formula Trout as well, because presuming that RSS, the manufacturers of the cars that we have here, Race Sim Studios, keep up their trends with their Formula Hybrid series, and their next car is a take on the 2022 regulations, a more accurate take than the one which they put together a few years back, then I presume we'll be using that. So much akin to Formula 1, this is the last time that we'll be seeing this style of Formula car out racing here in Formula Trout. You know, we'll be coming back into a new era. It's ground effect racing. Once again, like we had in Season 7 when we did use that Formula Hybrid Evo, as it's called. I think it's called the 2022 Evo now. But they first made the car. Yeah, they first made the car back in 2019 as a take on the regulations. Well, now it's now we actually have the regulations. Of course, Formula 1 testing has gotten underway. Well, I presume that we'll be getting another version of that car, and I presume that's what we'll be moving to. Again, we did confirm that with Kilgore in the Challenger split, but we'll have to wait and see. Wide from Felipe Olsen through turn 1 there. Tyres maybe just started to run out a little bit in the Volpino car. Of course, at this stage in the race as well, most of the drivers, they'll be tired. They'll be thinking, when is it going to end? Oh God, please just make it stop. And your eyes are thinking, your brain even is thinking, how many more laps have I got to do? It's the last few laps, these 5 remaining laps they have left. These will be the longest 5 laps of the race. And as I say 5, I mean 4, as David Halligan starts lap 43.
One person thinking that it's Halligan. We'd be wanting this race to finish on the next lap, if anything. Yeah, sorry, go on, Matt.
The one person that isn't thinking that is Giovanni Amorim, though, because he's just about to catch up to Mustafa and get into the DRS soon. So he'll prefer, like, yeah, guys, let's make this race longer if we can, you know.
Indeed, of course, Giovanni Amorim wishes this race would go on and on, so we would have time to get back to the lead that he held so dearly. But unfortunately, we only have a finite amount of laps, and they are quickly running out. And Giovanni's mistake was, well, it just came at the worst possible time for him. Samuel Ward trying to get past Gustavo Dalla Valle. Ooh, a big lock coming. It's very sideways as they contest for the last points-paying position. And Samuel Ward, though, despite that mistake, is all over the back of Gustavo Dalla Valle. Will have the DRS. Will get the move done before the braking zone.
Yeah.
No crashes this time round. And Samuel Ward looking like he's going to end the season with a point to his name in this race. That's
quite anticlimactic for him. I think he's been one of the more underrated drivers this season. He's really had amazing pace at some of the races, you know.
You're right there.
Being in that top 3 often. I think next season might be a big one for him.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Now in DRS.
Yeah, Giovanni Amorim now has DRS on Mustafa Moradi, and he smells blood. He smells at least some sort of trophy at his home race. And having some sort of trophy is better than having no trophy, I suppose. And he's got a few laps to do it on as well. But that being said, the driver in front, despite the old rubber, is of course the champion Mustafa Moradi, who has dominated so far this year. And had it not been for the first lap antics, likely would have led this race lights to flag, as he had most of the races this season, frankly.
I mean, even, you know, if we forget about the way he lost the lead, you know, being in the last few lap battle for your first podium in Master Split against the champion, you know, that is quite a good way to end the season. And
add your home race as well. I mean, of course, it's not going to compare to the win, but Giovanni Amorim against the champion can still show what he's made of with a comeback drive. It doesn't mirror, of course, the Moradi's comeback drive from well down in the in the dumps of at the back after turn 1. But, you know, Giovanni Amorim, I think this has been a comeback drive to remember as well. You know, well, as you say, Maxi, finishing off the championship, battling for trophies, your first podium in the Formula Trout Master Split at your home race. The race where a season ago you won the Challenger Split Constructors Championship and put your name on this grid. I think it's a good way to bounce the season, even if it's not the way that you would have wanted, given what happened earlier on. Now Samuel Ward pushing for P10 negatives. This is Samuel Ward. I wonder if he's stopped, because he's, you know, suddenly flying along.
He's on a softer rubber. I can see he's on the yellow strip.
Yeah, he's on the C3, but I wonder if he's boxed. He must have boxed. I'm not sure. Amorim a lot closer this time round. 0.5 of a second is the gap. DRS is wide open. Can he do anything this time round? It's turn 1. I don't think he will. No, bit too far.
You have the
He's going to have to stave it up. He'll have this next straight. Or
he has
the
a good
last
chance
lap. He does have a good chance. Very close indeed. Does he get any closer with the DRS? No, I don't think this will be it. Again, very, very close, but not quite close enough. He's going to have 2 more chances, really, on the final lap of the race to try and get that podium. Moradi doing what he can to hold off the young Brazilian. Oh, Moradi with a big lockup as well. A big, big lockup for Moradi, and that is not what he needed. Well, look how close Amorim is through this middle sector. That is ridiculous.
A bit of time here with the dirty air. But he will be very close on this last attempt here.
And well, here we go. Again, very, very close. Amorim just isn't getting that traction out of the final corner. Losing time. Last lap of the race. Last lap of the season. Last chance saloon for Giovanni Amorim. On board with Mustafa Rennie now. Amorim late on the brakes. Locks the inside front. He'll have one more go if he wants to get this podium. Let's have a look if he's close enough. I don't think he is. Coming into turn 4. No, he's not. Maybe he can pull something magical out of the bag. But common sense would suggest that Mustafa Moradi will hold on the P3. But meanwhile, up the front as Dave Southard retires from the race, it is this man who, in the most extraordinary circumstances, is going to win his first Formula Trout Master Split race. It's been a great season for David.
I wish we could drag him in right now, you know. I really wish we could, like... He'd be screaming. I know he... Oh, I'm so happy for him.
It's a long time coming.
Oh, well
David
done.
Halligan is a race winner in Formula Trout for his own team at DHF1. Jack Smith will come home in P2. Moradi, I believe, will hold on for third place. But David Halligan, finally, after all this time... Moradi gives a love tap to Amorim. A good battle, he says. Amorim, I think, heartbroken, of course, but P4 still a very respectable result. But he would have loved the trophy. Batata comes home in 5th. Cochrane comes home in 6th. Stevenson is 7th and has just killed a few people on the pit wall coming across the line. Olsen will be 8th and Ward will be 9th. Volpino 8-9. There Rosittis rounding out the top 10. But David Halligan, finally, after all of that time, he finally gets that win. Wow.
I think, you know, it would have been equally as satisfying if Giovanni would have won, but, you know, David getting his first win, that is fairly special as well.
Poetic.
Yeah, after all this time,
no. Just to think though, like this time last season, let's put things straight for maybe new people.
You fired him, is all I'm going to say.
Shut up. No. No. Okay, let's put things straight. The guy had like kind of the worst way to kind of finish the season. Having finally got a podium after battling for so long to finally get it. Have it stripped away from him due to track extensions, which does naturally happen in racing when you're pushing yourself to the limits constantly. you know, and he wasn't the only one, you know, caught doing that weekend. A lot of people were. So, you know, for him to kind of come back, you know, like David Halligan 2.0, it's really great to watch. You know, and so be it. You know, I'll be honest. Yeah, you know, we parted ways, but it's nice to see him fucking flourish in this way. You know, bounce back. But yeah, well done, man. I'm sure we'll hear from him shortly.
Hopefully,
But
he's gonna come in here.
I'd like to get an interview with him just to see what's going on, there. But let's get some interviews underway anyway. There we go. Let's go with Jack Smith for starters. Jack, can you hear us?
Yeah, again.
Awesome stuff. Well, perhaps not the way that you, a GP, would have liked to have wrapped up the season. And watch what you say, because your boss is in the commentary booth with us. But you know, it wasn't bad overall. You know, you put in a good performance.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with it. It's first proper time I've been driving this car again since forever. So yeah, to be you know back on the pace again near the top's really good. So just couldn't get that 1-2 that Maxi wanted. But yeah, it is what it is.
It's a 2-3. It's not too bad.
Listen, you can have your debrief and shout at each other later, right? I want peace in my commentary booth, thank you. But yeah, you know, a good race. As you said, you know, kind of standing in. It was going to be a bit of an uphill struggle. This is the first time really, in, as you said, basically forever that you've driven these 2021 cars. You know, how did it feel jumping back in at a very tricky circuit here at Interlagos?
Yeah, well, it was just getting used to these cars. Really, they're so snappy, especially at the end of that stint. The last few laps, it just so hard to keep it on the track. But yeah, no, it was good to be back on the track grid. So yeah, hopefully in the future, maybe seeing more of me. Maybe, I'm not saying anything yet, but
oh, fingers crossed. Hey, thank you very much for joining us, Jack. And well, a great result out there for you. Thank you very much.
Cool. Cheers, Ross. Cheers, everyone, for streaming.
I think we can get in here, David and Giovanni. Really.
Oh no, I don't want to do it at the same time. I'm sorry, I don't have the balls for that. Thank you, Maxi. Well, oh, all right. Well,
here we go.
Kilgore's jumped the gun because he's frothing at the mouth. David Halligan. David.
Finally, it's a long time coming.
It seemed like forever, and you're finally on the top step of the podium. That must feel pretty special.
Yeah, I'm really pleased. I mean, to be honest, I saw Giovanni Amarim at the front, and I couldn't catch him. He was so consistent, and I thought, well, Giovanni's going to take this one. But like I saw him spin, got a bit lucky. Had a little bit of a contact with Jack Smith. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened there, but I think we just sort of brushed each other, and unfortunately, he went round, and I took a little bit of damage. But yeah, I'm so pleased.
I mean, it's been an amazing season for you as well overall. I mean, obviously, coming in with your own squad, your own DHF1 team, you almost kind of revitalized. Obviously, you had a great race in Australia. If the final result didn't quite mirror what you deserved, and then throughout the season, you've been super strong. It's almost fitting to end it on a high, to end it on your first win.
Yeah, I know. I thought this is the last chance. We've got new cars next season, and they're going to be a nightmare. And I'm just so pleased. I thought I had good pace. I didn't, give myself too much expectation. I just wanted to have a good race, and I'm really pleased. But this year it's been so competitive. Like the whole grid's been so close. So it could have been anyone. Getting into a win there.
Indeed. Well.
Yeah, you were catching him. You
Yeah.
Definitely put on the pressure. So
I mean, yeah. Thank you. Cheers. I mean, to be on the pace of Jack Smith, I mean, I'm pretty chuffed with that, and alone, But Giovanni, unfortunately, he seemed a bit slower on the C2s, and I caught him a little bit and put him under pressure. So yeah, I'm really happy. Thank you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, Max, did you want to say something?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, once you open the bank account, easier to go up in balance, you know. So hopefully the first of a few.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
the start of something beautiful.
Start of many. Yeah.
Well, let's hope things settle down in the world. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, fingers crossed. Thank you very much for joining us, David.
Oh man, thanks for the commentary all season. You've been brilliant. So thank you very much. See you later.
Also, I've done barely anything this season, mate. Where have you been? I've been off. Oh, Max has had enough from anyway. He's come away.
Let's get more.
Yeah, I've not been here. Right, yeah. Let's get this sad one out of the way. Giovanni, can you hear us?
I can.
Mate, I don't really know what to say. Yeah, I mean, P4 is a phenomenal result to you, but what could have been, I guess.
Yeah, it's a huge shame. I was feeling pretty good. David was catching up to me just a little bit, but I think I could make it till the end. But then, I don't know, I exited, I don't remember which turn, but the sharp right before the last corner, and the rear just took off.
Yeah, just shows how easy it is to get things wrong in this car, I suppose. I mean, you were so confident out there at the front, and it would have been such a fairy tale victory, at your home race, a year on from when not a season on even from when you got promoted to the Master Split. Yeah, honestly,
walk us through the race start if you can.
Yeah, so I got an okay start, not as good as Murati, but then I decided to just have a look down the inside because he left it open. And then I noticed he braked pretty early, so I thought, okay, I can slot myself in. But then he pushed me all the way onto the curb, and then I just kind of bounced off it, and I just couldn't turn any tighter and went straight, just tapped him a little bit. And it's really unfortunate that it happened like that. I don't like hitting people, but there wasn't a whole lot else I could have done.
We'll have to review that at some of the point. Unfortunately, the angle didn't really show us what went on. I'm sure Maxi will just say, "Well, you just didn't watch it, did you?"
You didn't.
Shut up. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, I mean, you showed blistering pace out there, and it was so beautiful to nearly see you win at your home race like a year on, although however long ago it was, that you won the championship. So yeah, it was crazy stuff.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised at how well I was doing because I didn't even do that much practice, not even nearly as much as I did for Kielami.
Comes natural.
I guess the home advantage.
Yeah, home advantage when it is a thing. Anyway, man, thank you very much for your performance tonight and over the season. We only see in like the start of something here, for sure. So yeah.
I mean, Giovanni, again, what we've seen today is, this is proof that, there's big things in store for you. There's big things in store for Bag Motorsports as well. So, today may hurt, but in the future it won't. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, thank you. I guess we'll have to see.
We will indeed. Thank you very much for joining us, Giovanni. To get back up to P4, it's a great result for you. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you guys. And I'm glad I could have a good race when you came back, Ross. It's good to have you
just for me. Yeah, it's good to be back, man. It's really good to be back.
It was all you.
Yeah, it's always all me, isn't it? Thank you for joining us, Giovanni. And yeah, what could have been. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, it is all me, clearly. That was Giovanni. Who do we put in next? Alex or Steve? All right. Apparently we're doing Alex. I didn't really have a say in that. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Hello, Alex.
Yeah, that was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all right.
Did you take out this race, Alex?
I didn't take out anyone. I had a very boring race today.
So this is just from last race. Some jokes. Yeah. Go through your race. How did it go? You said it was quite boring. But we saw you battling a few people on the screen.
Yeah, you jumped up to
some points in the race.
P5, P6, something like that on the first lap. From like not the greatest of qualifying sessions.
Yeah, I mean the quali wasn't great. P9 or 10 in the end, I think, which obviously is never good. I had a pretty good start. I actually had to cut T2 because of the crash in front. I don't really think I gained anything, but yeah, didn't go too bad. I think I ran a little train at the start, like 5 or 6 cars in the train. Because I was trying to make the tires last. I was convinced, my practice and watching the I was convinced that it would be C3, C2, C3, or C3, C1. I did, that was my strategy in my head. So I wanted to extend the C3s and then run the C1s till the end. And what actually ended up happening was everyone just did C3, C2. So I pitted onto these C1 tires and I saved them. I was not pushing at all because I wanted to make them last at the end. So when people were doing two stop at the end, I could hold them up. I could keep them, I could defend because the C1's life in. And what actually ended up happening was I just let everyone on the C2 pull a massive gap to me, and then they didn't pit anyway. So everyone just drove off.
I think that is partly our fault because half of the field, or at least a big chunk of the field, is in Discord, in the CRT Discord, and somebody posted C3, C2 as being the best strategy. So
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Like,
I think that it's...
I know Muradi had the crash at the start, so he was working his way through the field, and he passed me. I think he was on the C2s at the time, and this was like lap, I don't know, 15 laps from the end or so, and I was like, oh, well, he's going to have to pit in the next lap or two, so I'll just let him past, and then he goes to the end anyway. But I mean, it was an okay race, everyone showed pretty good pace. Unfortunate for Christoph, he made a few errors, didn't finish in the points, but I mean, it's not too bad. I think Griffin finishes 5th, which isn't ideal. 4th even isn't ideal, but it's okay. And, my own team, I think, should keep 3rd, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay. That's basically it. Nothing else. Go on. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for the start of the season, for DAC Racing, started very strong. They were leading the championship for the first few rounds. Tarek was also, fighting the championship with Muradi with consistency. And it just kind of fell apart for the team's championship in that term, in that way, because I think there was the stat where DAC Races got 100 points in the first 6 rounds and then 2 in like the next 5. So, a bit of a disaster. But, same for Griffin, started okay. I was doing pretty well, podium at Mugello, hoping high hopes for the rest of the season. And then I have a string of 3 or 4 rounds where it's, 15th, 12th crash, that kind of thing. So not really what you want to do, but it's just one of those things. I mean, 5th isn't too bad. It's ahead of, half of the field. So still the upper half, but you always want more. But, congratulations to Oxtan for 2nd, and obviously to Younger GP as well. And also for Halligan to win today here. It's very good to see him take his first win at Brazil, which, after last season is good.
It's been an interesting season. It's been a very exciting one, and we've seen a new champion. Obviously, that was going to happen with Max Hamlink taking a step back from this car. Who knows?
He did drive the first few races, but then decided to call it. I think he was replacing someone at Nova at the time. But so we were going to get a new champion no matter what. Obviously, quite happy that is my driver or one of my drivers that gets it. But also would like to say thank you to Jan Dragoon for contributing to that constructors championship that we got.
Yeah, I mean, as a younger take the championship, I mean, it'll please a lot of people, not just yourself, Maxi.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, going forward, I mean, we've seen glimpses of things are about to happen in a way. Halligan finally taking the top step, and there's uncertainty about what he's gonna do next season regarding what team he's if his Paul Magsire's team are going to still be around. So, yeah.
I guess we'll see. It's Formula Trout League has always been quite unpredictable. The fact I don't think we've had a team win the championship in succession ever, and we've only had a driver do it once in Assetto Corsa at least. It really shows that we can't predict next season at all. I think there's a lot of drivers and teams that are looking strong. I'd point out Oxtan and Steven Stevenson for that. If I was gonna put money, I'd for someone else than Younger GP and Mustafa winning. I'd put it on him.
Yeah, Giovanni showing potential. Samuel Ward not potentially, up to his usual standard, but on a good day he's one to look out for. There's just, and obviously naturally there's just gonna be more people coming in. Even like we're looking that people from the Challenger split are coming up into the Master split. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Should we leave it at that?
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you guys have had anything to add to it.
I mean, I think it might be a shout for to have maybe another post-season stream where we just deconstruct everything, because it's been a hell of a season, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been a new kind of plateau for the league.
Should I say goodbye then?
Go on.
Right then, that'll be it then. Season 9 done and dusted. Obviously, thank you very much to Kilgore and Alex for their co-commentary and cameras this season, when I've been here anyway. And obviously thank you to Robbie Arthur, who isn't here, but when I've not been here, which is like 9 times out of 10, he's been jumping in. So thank you to them. Thank you very much for joining us today, Maxie, as well. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to you lot at home for tuning in, because without you lot, I wouldn't be here doing this, would I? Because there wouldn't be any point. And yeah, it's been, as I said, it's been a crazy season. And let's just see what the future brings. Thank you very much. And that concludes season 9. Onwards season 10. Hope you have an enjoyable Saturday night, and goodbye.